Pizza Nation, let's ride.
Pizza Nation, let's ride.
How's it going, y'all? Welcome back to the Pizza Palace. We're back once again. I have returned from my favorite place on the planet, Minnesota, Minneapolis,
Dude,
St. Paul.
When you were sending me the pictures, I was like, I thought this guy was at Disney World. I mean, just how tropic it looked.
I think you were referencing when I went to the Great Rainforest Cafe.
That's right. Of course.
Yes,
Such a class. You know, it's such a great institution. Shout out to the Rainforest Cafe.
Dude, shout out. I got like
real,
6 thunderstorms. It was great.
The real ones know. By the way,
that's right.
You know, we'll just say it. If you've not seen the video, after this, go search the video.
Just search
where Eddie
Cafe
Burback went to every single Rainforest Cafe in North America.
All of them.
It's a good watch. But anyway, go ahead, Robert.
Anyways, yes, I went to the great Minneapolis, St. Paul area. Technically, I was staying in Roseville. But I must say, memes aside, and the fact that I now have all of this wonderful Minnesota merch going on here, and this Kevin Garnett jersey, and all this fun stuff. I will say, genuinely non-character version of me, it is genuinely one of the greatest places I've been. It's really unbelievably nice city. I was very shocked at how much I loved it.
Yeah.
Everyone there is super cool. It is way more liberal than I expected, which was awesome for me. And I thought it was cool and all that kind of stuff. Also, I'm convinced that there's not a single straight person in the whole fucking city of Minneapolis. So there is that. There ain't no fucking straight people in Minneapolis, St. Paul. None of them. But it was awesome. And I didn't run into a single shitty person there, at least in my experience. So
Robert
really enjoyed it.
Does that speak for a friend? No, I'm kidding. No, dude,
it was great. Everyone there was fucking awesome. We went to like 3 different breweries, one of which was this place. Shout out to the Falling Knife Brewing Company.
Ooh.
They are awesome. We went there on a Tuesday, which happened to be the night that they were playing a game called let me tell the story. We get in there and we sit down and we get our beers, and then this guy in like super short shorts comes up to us and he goes, "Hey y'all, you playing Flingo?" And we were like, "What?" And he was like, "You see them 2 drag queens up there? They're going to call out letters. And then if you get bingo, you yell Flingo and you get free beer." And we're like, "Fuck yes, we're playing Flingo." So these 2 drag queens just sat and called out bingo numbers with like one of them spinny things. And it was fucking awesome. And they shared crazy, dirty stories. And at one point started doing like dancing to like loud music or whatever, and one of them was like doing cartwheels and like dancing up on the bar itself, and it was a whole thing. And I was like, this is insane. So I accidentally went to a drag show and it was awesome.
Hey, that's freaking awesome, man. Hey, that's just, you know, commonplace in Minnesota, apparently. No,
evidently.
But hey, man, I'm glad you're back. It sounds like, you know, you sent me some pictures on Snap. You know, you got to do quite a few things. I was pretty pumped to.
There we go. Just had to shut off Kevin Garnett real quick. And really, I just really embraced myself in the culture while I was there. I think I got merch from every Minnesota team except for the Vikings. Because technically, I didn't get something from the Minnesota Wild, but I did get from this other brewing company. They had these amazing glasses, and one of them had like a bear with hockey sticks, which is kind of like the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah.
That one was called Head Flyer, and they are fucking awesome. Really good.
That's really sick.
But yeah, I also got a patch because all their beers were named after like hip hop, which was awesome.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So anyways, I think I got merch from every team except the Vikings. Although I went by their stadium and it was awesome because they have that big boat with like a big Viking head on it, and it's really, really cool. So
yeah, and then you went to a Twins game too and got to watch.
I did. I went and saw our Tigers suck ass. Suck fucking buns.
Hey,
that team is an unwatchable disaster.
I mean,
fuck the Detroit Tigers.
I mean, we don't have to talk much baseball, but like before we get into like the meat of the show, I guess we could say Avila, I mean, getting fired.
He's gone, so I guess that helps.
I listen, man.
Like,
I
rip
here
Avila, I
we're
guess, but,
this
like,
is largely going to be a football show today, but here's what I will say.
yeah,
Avila absolutely should have been gone
for sure.
3 months ago.
Right.
He should have been gone before the trade deadline. He should have been gone before the draft and was allowed to be in a position to make key decisions for the franchise. Even and then all of a sudden,
Yeah.
in the middle of August, when this team has actively been sucking, has
Just,
been
like,
the
for no
same.
reason.
Like he was like, yeah, I feel up until a month ago, I thought we were making progress. Like, I think it almost was like it almost felt like the franchise as a whole, like they were really holding out for when Riley Green came back and that like that would save the team. But like, did you know that he's also a young bat in this organization? So that means that he can't hit consistently either. Like, that's just what this is, man. So like we've only been set back by him being here. Now we got to move on. And now we have to put it in the hands of an owner who, during his press conference, to put it kindly, bumbled like a fucking moron
Oh
through
my
half
god.
of it.
What an absolutely asinine press conference that
Like,
shit
like
was.
literally, like,
Holy
what
hell.
do you guys regret trading JD Martinez and Justin Verlander? And he was like, well, that wasn't my decision. That was his decision. Here's where that's absolute. And this is where I just want to take a quick second and say absolute bullshit
Mm.
on that. Because, yes, ultimately, Avila made the decision and made the deal to make these moves and to trade these players. But are you telling me that Justin Verlander, who is perhaps, other than Miguel Cabrera, the
Mm.
most significant Detroit Tiger
Mm.
of the past 20 years,
Mm.
are you telling me that they're not calling ownership and getting them to co-sign on that decision? Are you telling me that Chris Ilitch didn't at least get a phone call on the day that they were talking about trading Verlander and he didn't go, well, if you think it's best for the organization,
Yes.
go ahead, because
Yes.
that's what happens.
Right.
That owners ultimately give their approval if the team makes that significant of a move. And then even then, he didn't even know when he extended Avila in the first place. So this guy isn't even paying attention to what's going on with the state of the organization. He couldn't tell you.
Very true. I think essentially what he was doing through a lot of that thing was to pretty much just obfuscate all responsibility and just be like, "No, it was that guy. Be mad at him. He's the sacrificial lamb," which is essentially what that was. Is they
Yeah.
fired him as the sacrificial lamb to be like, "Well, the fans are pissed. Maybe they'll be happy now. We won't." But
And
it's just
unfortunately
like,
for Chris Ilitch, for because unlike the Red Wings, where in my opinion, he kind of had a pretty easy decision to put that franchise on the right track, which was
oh yeah,
bring in Stevie Y, your
yeah,
former legend, who also turns out to be an awesome executive. Yes,
amazing.
that's an obvious decision.
Yeah,
Bring him in, bring him back in the fold, right?
right.
There's
And
no
let him run
Stevie.
the whole thing.
Yeah, there's no Stevie Y waiting out in the MLB development sphere, at least not that we know of. There's not
Yeah, the
obvious
best
names.
choice we could have is maybe Theo Epstein.
Right.
He's been thrown out there. Other than that, it's kind of like I don't know,
Right.
but
Other than
yeah,
that, it's gonna be like, it's gonna maybe come down to like who's some guys that AJ Hinch likes. But otherwise, it's
right.
ultimately we start now in a worse position than when he came in. Like when he came in, he was like, we needed to get young prospects. And like, yes, we have young prospects now, but
Yeah,
like it doesn't mean they're gonna turn out to be players. Like Spencer Torkelson was a number one pick, has number one pick intangibles. Doesn't mean he's gonna be a number one pick caliber player in the MLB. Riley Green has some great moments on the defensive end. Can we see him consistently hit at the plate? I think he can get there, but
sure.
like he's the only one out of like how many bats we've had in the system
Yeah,
that like we have somewhat hope for. And
I definitely.
Torkelson's batting like 230 in
Oh yeah, it's not
AAA
great.
right now. He
It's not great.
sucks.
Yeah,
He
it,
sucks.
he really kind of does. Which, I definitely have not given up on any of our prospects, but I will say it's just one of those situations, right, where It's bad enough that you trade Verlander, who is still competing for Cy Youngs at his age, and you trade JD Martinez, who is obviously a great player for us and all that kind of good stuff. Like, it's not enough that you traded those guys. You traded them for kind of nothing.
You know
And
what I
so it's
think
like
was the
the
you know what I think
value they got was pretty much buns. You gave
right,
Cabrera way too big of a contract that's handicapped the franchise forever. And then on top of that, it's like you pretty much just went the approach of like, we're only going to rely on our prospects. And so then you pretty much just put an insane, unbelievable amount of pressure on Casey Mize and Green and Torkelson, Screwball, Turnbull, I think was he a prospect? I don't remember. All these fucking guys, though. You have all of these guys and you're putting an unbelievable amount of pressure on them. Also, the problem is that the millisecond you call them up, you start to go talking about, we're going to be aggressive and we're going to compete and this, that, whatever. So you put unrealistic expectations in the eyes of the fans. And I see, like, it'd be a lot like if last year or even this year, the Pistons are told by the front office, we're going after it and we're going to try to make a run in the playoffs. Fucking no, you are not. Okay. You have Cade Cunningham, who's great, and you have Sadiq Bey, who's great, and stuff like that. And some of these young guys, and Ivy and whatever, and stuff like that. They're all great. But these are not guys who are ready yet to go try to win a championship. Okay. It takes longer than a year, 2 years in the league to develop to be an elite talent who's going to go and compete at that level. So when they started talking about the Detroit Tigers were going to go and try to be this fucking, big thing or whatever, the fans are thinking, okay, we're doing it, and we're going to go sign this guy and this guy. And these rookies are just going to come and light the world on fire. That's fucking insane. Like, if
right. Well,
you,
here's the thing.
like, what are we talking about?
Well, even then, because here's the thing. Under Avila's tenure, we had rookies that were lighting on fire.
Yeah.
Michael Fulmer won a
Sure.
Rookie of the Year award
Sure.
and was awesome as a
Sure.
starter at the beginning of his time. And then under Avila's sight, under everything
The
that
different
happened in that time,
coaching, yeah, managers and all that.
we freaking fumble his development.
Mm-hmm.
He gets injured. He becomes a shell of himself. And at the end of his tenure, went from an awesome pitching prospect who at one point was considered the ace in our rotation.
Sure.
To a back-end reliever that got traded for a couple maybes at the deadline to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
In division, by the way. To your
an
rival.
in-division trade, and then it's like, which is an unbelievably strange trade, especially considering like if he can somehow rebound his career or or whatnot and stuff like that. It's just like, cool. So you just like gave him to the Twins for no reason. Like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the Detroit Tigers are completely lost. And it's really unfortunate because I feel like they're in such an awkward position because they still have time. I still believe that they have plenty of time to turn this thing around and to develop these guys and to do it right. And the rebuild doesn't need to take a million years, and we can still go out and compete in the next couple of years. I think that we need the fans to continue to remain patient, which we completely fucked up this year by giving them expectations they should have never fucking had, which I tried to fucking tell people not to have, and also told people not to like Baez, and they fucking did anyways. And we need to reset the expectations there. And I think we have time to turn it around, but it's limited time, and they need to be really, really smart with how they manage their assets and how they manage, what the fuck are they, going to do at this point? Are we going to try to bring on some guys, contracts and stuff like that, especially once Miguel Cabrera is no longer an issue? Are we going to try to trade off a lot of these guys and try to rebuild the farms? Like, what are we going to do? Because we did have a number one rated farm system multiple times, and now they're all up, and it's kind of like, what are we doing?
Yep. Now it means it's like cool. Like all you got, like the best thing that the Avila era produced was some cool headlines on MLB dork blogs about which prospects are coming up and are going to be the best, and that's kind of the bottom line. But
and the thing is that sucks too is that I think last year we had some flashes that were fun that also gave us the wrong idea. Stuff like Akil Baddoo having a sort of Fidrich type season, not quite that good, but one of those fun things where it's like, oh my gosh, he's hitting all these home runs and look how good he is, and
it's too good to be true.
Exactly. It's like this guy came from nowhere and he just suddenly is amazing, and then now he's fucking buns. And I'm not even sure how he's still on the team because I'm not. Is he hitting over 100?
I
Like I'm pretty sure he's hitting like
honestly, dude,
088.
I haven't
It's
tuned
so
in
bad.
such a long time. I couldn't tell you. I have been mentally, emotionally,
Mm,
everything checked out on that team. Honestly, like now that Avila is gone,
yeah,
good riddance. Let's
for
start
sure.
fresh. But
It's
now,
honestly really, really sad that it has come to this point, man. It really
yeah.
is. And yeah, I haven't been like overly tuned in because obviously I watch the Yankees, which has also been really hitting the skids as of late. But I'm not as concerned because they have like 4 or 5 main people out. Like I'm not at freaking out like some of the other Yankees fans. I'm like literally once we get healthy, it'll probably be fine. Yeah, but yeah, no, it's crazy. We thought the the Lion or the Tigers were going to be amongst the teams kind of on the rise in Detroit, and they're very much not.
Mhm.
But Sean, I did
They were supposed to
sorry
be the most playoff ready in theory.
exactly, and they are
Yeah.
very much not. That is the Detroit Red Wings. But Sean, speaking of Detroit teams, I did watch the first episode of Hard Knocks with the Detroit Lions. Sean, I would like to hear your take as we transition into football a little bit here.
Oh. So, this first of all, uh, completely being unbiased here.
Sure.
First of all, I'm a fan of not only the Lions
Mm,
and like, any documentaries like I'm a fan of Hard Knocks
yes.
as a show. So like anytime that like a team gets selected, like if the Lions were selected in the Matt Patricia era, I would have been excited, but I wouldn't have been as excited in the sense that I don't know if it would have been captivating television. Like Matt Patricia would have totally tried to cover things up. It would have been very surface level. It would have been boring,
We
right?
would have seen him acting like a complete thunder cunt.
Right, right. And but whereas whereas with what we're getting right now,
Mhm.
I think I don't think it's completely out of whack to say that might be the best Hard Knocks episode I've seen in the last 10 years at least. Like it was awesome. And Dan Campbell is electric. Listen, man, I'm trying to put you in the position to succeed, man. I just need you to trust me, man. The freaking landfill. I don't care if I got one toe, two butt cheeks, and a rock. I'm gonna kick your ass. Like just the things this guy says is wild.
I'm
But
so happy that I just heard the worst Dan Campbell impression of my entire life.
listen,
He
man. Like
sounds like a fucking like a
listen, man.
he's he sounds like a fucking drunk country singer. Like what is happening?
Dude, but he's
Uh,
so authentically himself. But then in addition,
yes.
the all the former players that are also coaches on this staff. I
Mhm.
know it's unconventional in the sense that like I know it hasn't been done a
Right.
lot before, but also that's because there haven't been those programs and those opportunities for those people to be in those positions before. And I think with Dan Campbell, like people like underestimate, and like one thing I think people forget when they watch that story, he was under Sean Payton's tutelage.
Right.
He was in New Orleans and he's done his homework on learning how to become a coach. So like I know that people view Dan Campbell as this meathead, and I know there's things in there where he's like, when he said, "Come on, D's nuts,"
He's nuts.
like things like that, where it's like,
Him doing the
okay,
up downs and shit like that.
yeah,
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
there's things like that where like he's a meathead, but like I also think he's like a really good football mind and knows what he's talking about. So
Sure.
like I like the more I watch Hard Knocks,
Mm,
the more I'm confident about the direction the team's going,
right.
because how their training camp seems is everything that I was hoping that locker room would be like from the outside looking in. And one more thing that was really cool about the episode that I absolutely loved, Dan Campbell, just like in his opening speech when he's talking, he's
Mm.
like, "It's just like Metallica said, man. Like
Yes.
there's a light at the end of the tunnel. There's a fucking freight train coming your way, man.
I was
Gotta be
so
ready,
happy.
dude."
I
First of all, not only did he quote a Metallica song,
a deep cut, by the
a
way.
deep cut Metallica song, That's my favorite Metallica song.
It's
And then
certainly amongst my favorites too. Like, you kind of have to be a Metallica fan to even really know that fucking song.
exactly.
Yeah.
And then also the way the episode ends with them going into the fan event at the end in Ford Field, like doing all that stuff with the yeah, when it comes to me, like
Yeah,
dude,
yeah. The
it was
weirdest
just
version too. It was like a different version of No Leaf Clover that I
it
haven't
was like
heard
a
before.
live, yeah, it was like a
Yeah,
live, like
it
yeah,
was cool.
it was so good, man. And also one more thing, I'm sorry, I know
Yeah.
I'm
No, you're
rambling at
good. You're
this
good. You're
point
good. No, no, I wanted to hear your side.
because I just was like I felt like a fangirl because I'm a Lions fan, so like with that, but
You're
then
an insane bleed Honolulu blue guy. We know this.
yeah, but one more thing. The Aiden Hutchinson Billie Jean scene was so great.
It's so
Not just the like Aiden Hutchinson's performance, but there's a part where a guy in the second row rips
throws
his
the shirt or
shirt
the
off.
towel or whatever.
Yeah,
Yes.
throws it, and then the guy in the front just dance. It just starts, and I'm like, dude, how can you not like? There is no person that watches this show
Mm,
and is gonna not be rooting for the Lions in some fashion. Even
agreed.
like Packers fans would have to be like, these guys are likable.
Maybe the Packers fans don't have souls, so there is that.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, yeah,
They do root for a complete asshole who's their quarterback. So,
they're also racists and are definitely all at bed before 10.
well,
Well,
things got awkward. You know how I had to make my amends with Minnesota? You now have to make your amends with Wisconsin.
I don't give a shit. Wisconsin could eat rocks and suck. I'm
Here's
not gonna finish
here,
that. But anyway.
you know, here's all I need to know about people from Wisconsin is the fact that the entire fucking Upper Peninsula of Michigan is pretty much wholly attached to their state, and they're such fucking cowards that they just let us take all of it. So
They're
that's
like,
all I need
"Oh,
to know about those
sure."
fucking losers.
They're like, "Here you go," and
Bunch of
they literally
fucking
gave it to
dorks.
us on a silver platter with cheese.
Bunch
They're
of
like, "Here's some
fucking
fresh
dorks.
Wisconsin cut cheddar." And
Having been to both Minneapolis, Saint Paul, and some places in Wisconsin, not like Milwaukee, proper or anything like that, but Minneapolis is better. So, just saying.
yeah.
But Sean, my views on that now. Of course, I having my Buccaneer stuff in the background and being a Raider for life kind of guy. I grew up here obviously, and I do have love for the Lions, and I do root for the Lions to win because obviously, if they do well, it's awesome.
Right.
And definitely there was moments in there where I was just really having a sense of nostalgia for the Lions that I didn't know existed.
Yeah.
And just a certain like love and passion for them to where I was just like, man, I just really want to run through a brick wall for some of these guys. And I feel like if this team were to succeed, I would just fucking, ball because it's just like what they've had to overcome and what the city in general has had to overcome and the fan base and this and that. I think generally speaking, though, I definitely did not garner as much optimism as maybe some other people. I think a lot of people watched this, Lions fans specifically, and came out of this, thinking that that the team is, they started to almost gain expectations out of it, right?
Oh yeah, and here and again, here's where everything you heard me say,
Yes.
none of that has to do with how I expect this team because here's the thing. At the end of the day,
Mm,
they're telling a story.
exactly.
That is what they're here to do. So, like, when
Right.
they're showing Aiden Hutchinson, they're showing why he was the number 2 overall pick. They're showing Penei Sewell. They're showing why he was the first round pick last year. Obviously, these guys look insanely talented and athletic and are doing really awesome things in training camp. But you know who else has that? 31 other teams throughout the league that are having this exact same type of program.
With a lot more talent.
We're just not watching. They're just not getting it filmed, and we're not watching it on television. So
Although the
I
Cardinals will during the season, don't they?
yeah, yep.
Yeah.
The Cardinals will be in season. My expectations for the Lions have kind of sat around anywhere from I think their ceiling they could get to 7, maybe 8 wins.
Yeah.
But
I think
my
6
ultimate
is, yeah.
5 or 6 is about my fair point. Now that's still improvement over
Sure.
last year,
It's better
and
than
that
3.
yeah, it's better than 3. Now they can be really competitive in a lot of them, and they could ultimately flip those results. But I what I will say, I at the very least, I'm not alarmed if they don't win a lot of games this year because to me, it
Course
seems
not.
like there's a plan, you know?
Yeah. So here's what I garnered from this is that I was like, okay, so the Lions realize that they have no talent. And because they have no talent, that's not entirely fair. They do have some talent. They have some really, really great pieces on this team that, I really, really like St. Brown and Sewell and Hutchinson, blah, 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 whatever. But like, and Hawkinson. But for the most part, this team is a little bit devoid of talent. And I think because of that, even Dan Campbell knows, and being a good football guy, he understands what it's going to take to motivate a lot of these lesser skilled players on the team. And that's why he brought in a bunch of former players, is because I really think that he realizes, like, okay, you can bring in a bunch of really smart X's and O's guys, but when you've got these kind of like not as football sound dudes who don't really understand and are kind of just out there to do the best they can, which is not that much, you're going to need them to simplify, and you're going to need football guys to come and explain it in football terms. And I think that it's going to really pay dividends for a lot of these guys and make them look better than they are. Because I think for a team like this, you need to motivate them differently, and you need to talk to them differently. And I think it's really, really going to, help out on
Well,
the field and stuff like that.
and even when
But
you're
it's still only
building
going to be like 6 wins. So
yeah, well, and even when you're building something long term as well, you need special type of motivators and
yeah,
people that can keep people invested even in the midst of that. And that's really what you need. You
for
need
sure.
guys who can come in and still play really hard even in the midst of really tough football. Like if at the end of this year, these guys are still invested
Mm,
into what Dan Campbell's doing, that's a great sign
yeah.
because then next year, in my opinion, is when you really start to try to kind of wrap a bow around it, add some talent in the draft, but hopefully go and get some guys in free agency and maybe even address your quarterback situation. But you
I
know,
think I like what they're doing, and I like the mentality and stuff like that, especially because these coaches know damn well that they're going to win maybe 6 games at best.
mhm.
And so you kind of have to go in with this sort of bullshit rah-rah mentality to kind of, even get that out of some of these guys. And they will be better because they do have some talent and stuff like that, whatever. And hopefully they all stay healthy, because then they could be even better. But yeah, they know where they're at. But then
They
again,
can't deal with more health issues than last year because COVID and
bruh,
everything just made it like, man, oh
it's
my
unreal.
gosh. Yeah, but
I think that the rah rah thing can only go on for so long though, because that's
well,
just
at
kind of
the
the
end
way
of the
it is.
day in the NFL, you need to produce wins at a certain
Exactly.
point. That's what it is.
The Raiders for years tried to do the rah rah thing, and then now they finally turned around to be like, okay, no, we're gonna get Devontae Adams, we're gonna get talent around this team, we're gonna try to
Right.
go and actually do something. So we'll see.
And I think of the Lions' fairness, I think they're doing both the rah-rah thing, but in
Yeah.
just in the 2 short years of their rebuild, have added a lot of talent.
And they've been the biggest thing, honestly, above all, is that they're actually drafting well for maybe the first time ever. It seems
Yep.
like they're
Yep.
well, and that's not even entirely fair. I think they were drafting really well occasionally. Like they got Stafford, they got Megatron, stuff like that. Like they've
Right,
had
but
like
those
hit
were
pieces.
like those guys were in your lap, can't miss. Those
Exactly.
were the guys to draft. Whereas
Exactly.
this is where we're seeing a GM for the first time in a long time for the Lions go and actually make their own luck.
Yes.
Go and actually make trades to get the wide receiver at 12 overall. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
that just hasn't happened before. But maybe since we're talking about like how we think they're going to do and where they think where
Mm,
we think they're going to end up, maybe that's a good segue into looking at like our tier list for the
let's do
NFL.
it. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
bring it up, and then yeah, you can just leave it on screen once you got it up there
Yeah,
too.
absolutely. So
Let's do this.
let's break down to the people what this is. So
What
first of all,
ba-dum. Bum 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 bum.
but
Bum
anyway,
bum 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 bum.
I by the way, I don't think I actually told you this.
Yes.
So when this goes up, which will be Friday, I'll actually be going on Saturday to
Oh,
I'm going to be
the
in
Lions.
Chicago. So
Oh,
I'm going to be at the Bears preseason game at Soldier Field, and they're going to be playing the Kansas City Chiefs. So
ooh, boo the
I'm
Chiefs for me.
I might get to see Patrick Mahomes. There's a chance.
Nice.
So
Make sure that you boo them for me.
I will. But anyway,
Thank you.
I mean,
Thank you.
I don't really like
You're not
either.
invested. I hate them because I'm a Raiders guy, so it is
Yeah,
what it is.
yeah,
Also,
it's
I
a bachelor
really
party.
love already looking at this because I'm a person who pays attention way too much. Hold on, let me look.
Yep.
Oh no, you do have the modern one. Okay, for a second there, I thought you had the old Panthers logo, and I was like, hell yeah, we've already got an outdated logo. But no, we don't.
No, so this is actually pretty cool. I didn't have to put any of this together. This is already automatically like they had an NFL
Hell
tier
yeah.
listing ready to go. I was like, heck yeah. The only thing we put together was the tiers. So we have, first of all, we have champs,
Yes.
division winners. So like these are going to be like teams that like are really good, but like might not be like Super Bowl teams. So like kind of like how like the Titans are like a team that every
Sure.
year it seems like they're awesome or really good in the regular season, but you know they're never going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
And then wild card teams, you know, teams that like will,
Self-explanatory.
yeah, exactly. Teams are like on the bubble of making it, you know,
Could
could
make
be
the
in the
playoffs,
playoffs.
but
Yeah. And then butt cheeks.
my favorite category.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
We all
Just
know butt cheeks.
if you know, you know.
You're damn right. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, butt
Uh-oh.
cheeks
There
moving
we
up,
go.
baby. Let's
Uh-oh.
go.
Oh, the butt cheeks tried to get up. That's the problem.
They're
When
trying.
butt cheek try to go on the bubble, they don't know what's Hall the Hubble Bubble. You know what I mean? So, but
Let's start off with the Detroit Lions.
yeah. Let's start with the Detroit Lions. I don't have them being butt cheeks,
Okay.
but I would have them being like a bubble team of like at the like of like they could be a team that could potentially be on the bubble to be in the playoffs. Now, I'm not saying they're gonna be there, but like they could be around the bubble.
So the only bubble I think they're around is the bubble butt, because I think they are for sure butt cheeks. This there is seven. There is 17 games on the schedule now, and we are predicting at best they're going to win 6. So that would put them at 6-11, which is butt cheeks. This team ain't doing shit. I am very sorry. I love you, Lions. I hope that you do well. I really like Dan Campbell. It's nothing against any of you, but the team's butt cheeks. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I hate to agree with you, but like it's got to be like if
I
I'm
know what
putting
you were trying to say, but I was like, Sean, you realize there's 17 games now, right?
so the Arizona Cardinals.
The Arizona Cardinals.
This to me, like when I look at their division, I don't see a chance in hell they're gonna win it, but like I don't see a chance in hell that they're not gonna be in the playoffs either. So like I think the Cardinals will be a wild card team. Like they have
Yeah.
like with Kyler Murray, like with their quarterback talent, if you're not at least in the wild card, that's a
Mm,
problem. Now
mm,
what he actually can do when you get there, I have no idea.
mm,
But with their offensive firepower and how they generally start seasons, you
mm.
got to think that they're going to be in the wild card at least.
That's the weird thing, right? Is for the first half of the season, they should be like division winner, but the second half, they're always butt cheeks, which kind of just puts them squarely in wild card to bubble. But
Yeah,
I think that definitely I agree with you. Wild card is the best place to put them because they'll win just enough to pad their record and end up in a wild card spot, most likely, and then get eliminated early. But I could easily also see them like just barely missing the playoffs as well. They're
right.
just such a weird team. But yeah, we're gonna probably stick with wild card. That's a decent
Yeah,
spot for them.
yeah. You know what I think's another thing that's pretty easy
Yeah.
when we can just we don't even have to like no, we don't even have to think about it.
Yeah, that team's butt cheeks. I don't even know who their starting quarterback is, and I don't think they've even announced it, have they?
I think it's Marcus Mariota.
Oh, oh God.
Mm-hmm.
And I like the guy as much as the next dude. And he was a former Raider, and once a Raider, always a Raider. But Jesus
So their
Christ.
tentative plan, I believe, is to start their rebuild with
Yeah.
Marcus Mariota
Oh no.
as their starting quarterback.
Oh no.
And so currently they
Oh, and
have
Ridley's out for the season due to the suspension, isn't he?
Ridley's out. They drafted Desmond Ritter in the 3rd round.
Sure.
So he's their backup. So like maybe he'll come in at some point, but you're gonna think that they're tanking for like Bryce Young or like one of these big names
Oh
at,
yeah.
at the top of the draft. Like you got to think they're just positioning themselves for that. I mean,
This team's going straight to the bottom.
it's a lost season. It's a lost
Which,
season.
it's funny. Before I knew this guy from Georgia who's a huge fan, and now I have slight sympathy for them because I like him. The thing of it is, they're in the Buccaneers division. So traditionally, I hate this team. Not as much as the Saints, but I generally dislike them. So it does make me a little bit happy to see them in butt cheeks. It does make me smile.
Right. The Ravens,
The Ravens.
I think now here's my opinion.
Hmm.
I think they're gonna win the AFC North. I don't think they're a realistic team to win
Like number
the.
one seed, or oh, sorry, AFC North. Okay,
Ac
okay.
Okay, on second thought, yeah, because it's tricky because like
Who's in
you
their
would
division? The Steelers, who suck. The
so
Browns, who
they,
exist.
they have the Bengals, so like that would be the other team that would
Oh, the
potentially be.
Bengals.
But like with you could see them have a Super Bowl hangover. They're not like a sure thing necessarily as far as coming back and
I've
being
got
as
opinions
awesome.
on them.
Yeah, like I think the Bengals can be really good. I think they can
Mhm.
be stellar, but in my opinion, I think Lamar getting some of his guys back, the Ravens, people forget, but they dealt with so many injuries last year. Like they
Mm.
literally couldn't get a freaking running back. Like it felt like every
Yeah.
single like they had to keep going to their practice squad
Oh, it
for
was
running back.
unbelievable.
So I think, this was a team that before they dealt with injuries was consistently in the hunt for a playoff appearance, either through the wild card. I think, the Steelers are going to take a step back this year.
Oh, the
I
Steelers are gonna be butt cheeks.
Yeah, the Steelers. Yeah, we can just go ahead if
Where are the Steelers? Throw their ass in butt
they're
cheeks.
in butt cheeks. That's where
They
they
are
at. But
firmly in butt cheeks, which makes me very happy. But yeah,
yeah,
the Steelers are firmly in butt cheeks,
yeah,
which
yeah.
is they honestly could be bubble, honestly, just because of how great their coach is and because they do have some wide
Guess
receiving
who's starting
talent.
for the
But
Steelers day one?
oh yeah, Trubisky. Yeah, yeah, that's
Mitch
some butt cheeks.
Trubisky.
That's big time butt cheeks.
Yeah, that's if man, imagine if Mike Tomlin makes Mitch Trubisky look like the next Ben Roethlisberger.
If he can do that, then the Bears should honestly sell their franchise to England and should just become like non-existent. Because if you can't, if you fail that badly, then the Bears should stop existing.
Yeah,
But no,
but
I agree with you for the Ravens because I think that Lamar Jackson's one of the most underrated and underappreciated talents in the NFL. I think
yep,
that he gets a lot of shit for no reason. I think some of it is
yep,
racially motivated as well.
yep.
And I really, really, really like him. I think he's great. I think he's an MVP, and I think he's definitely a division winner this year.
You know what he reminds me of?
Mm,
He reminds me he's the NFL version of John Morant to me. Of he's really dynamic and explosive. He can
sure,
like he's that guy that sets his teammates up to be successful. People
sure.
look at Lamar and like they look at what he does on the ground, but like he's in like his statistics, at least like what he's done on like in the air. Like I know he's not the most accurate passer all the time. I'm not saying he has an elite arm, but like
Ah,
but like he has a really good arm. Like over
yeah,
the air, like he's thrown a lot of touchdowns.
sure.
So I mean, people
I think
people
he's a
just don't appreciate that. But
I honestly look at him a little bit more, and stick with me here. He's obviously not necessarily a one-to-one comparison here, but I think his attitude is less John Morant to me and more Kobe Bryant. I think he's got
yeah,
a very like level-headed approach. He's not overly cocky. He's not overly, flashy of like me. I think he's very team-centric. I think he's very winning-centric. And I
yeah,
just think he comes off to me, and he has this over both of those gentlemen, is that he just comes off as a really great guy.
yeah,
I haven't seen anything that has, made me feel negatively towards him really whatsoever. I think he
yeah,
just comes off as a really, really good guy. So
yeah.
I really like him, and I think, yeah, definitely division winner for them.
And spoiler alert, he wins football games.
He really does.
When he's healthy, he wins football games.
Yeah.
So I'm just sick of the, and here's the thing, I'll reveal my biases here.
Mm.
As the
Well, you
Lions
like the Ravens.
as a Lions fan, I in middle school, I gave myself what was called the comfort food clause, where this team was so miserably sorry and pathetic that
Mm,
I had to give myself something to hope for.
mm.
And in middle school, for whatever reason, I chose the Ravens.
Yeah,
And I have loved them ever since. And they're still my second team. So
for sure.
really, really hope to see them succeed this year. But
It's kind of like how I have the Buccaneers and the Raiders. It's like some people argue you can't have two teams. To that, I say go fuck yourself. And I have two teams, and you have two teams. It is what it
yeah,
is.
yeah. But I mean, my main team's the Lions. Like it's
Well,
always
right,
like at the end of the
obviously.
day,
Right,
like
right,
when
right,
they
right.
play, like I mean it's the Lions. But
Right, of course, of course.
yeah. But all right, here's
Buffalo Balls, question mark?
we're gonna yeah, exactly. Buffalo butt cheeks? No, I Buffalo I think
Buffalo butt cheeks.
I
Sorry.
think the Bills have a very good chance. Like this could be their year.
Especially if they can add Odell Beckham Jr. potentially, that would be huge for
Yeah.
them as well. Yeah, I think that the Bills are definitely just one of those teams in the conversation. Yeah.
I mean, listen, man, Josh Allen, like people wondered, could Josh Allen take the leap? He took the freaking leap
Yeah,
and
for sure.
he ran over the leap and he literally like went and bought a Lamborghini and drove 150 miles an hour over the leap. Good God, this guy's insane at football.
He's
Like,
very good. Yes.
there were times where he was in a shootout with Patrick Mahomes
Mm,
and he looked more deadly than Patrick Mahomes.
for sure.
Like like the
Seems to get
fact,
less rattled than him as well, and
yeah,
doesn't need to play hero ball, which some of that
yeah,
has to do with the fact that he has a better O-line, I think, but still, yeah.
yeah. And I mean, also you look at what they have on the defensive end. You look
Mm,
at the coaching staff. You talk about a front office that largely makes good draft picks and good decisions.
sure.
It just seems like over the years the Bills have just become this really good football organization. And so,
And good for
um,
them, man. They need a
yeah,
win after all the, flack of OJ Simpson.
yeah. They're a team I'm
Maybe
rooting
shouldn't have
for.
had him at the stadium semi recently.
Well, yeah, yeah. They're a team that I like when we're talking about like potential contenders,
Yeah.
they're a team I'm hoping for, but like I like when I'm looking, let me say it this way.
Mm,
They're of all the teams in the NFL that I have making like the Super Bowl or like I have being in the hunt,
mm,
I would like the one team I would be shocked isn't at least in the title game for their conference.
mm.
It's the Bills.
Oh, yeah.
Like the Bills are gonna be in the title game for their conference. Like
Oh, for
they
sure.
have to be in the AFC title game. Like if they're not, like what like literally how?
Yeah, how? Yeah. It would have to be an injury or something like that. Also, can we
Yeah.
shout out the fact that the Buffalo Bills, in my opinion, might have a top 3 NFL logo? I mean, that thing is just gorgeous. I really like it, and I've always really liked it.
It's fire.
It's fire.
It's
Now let's
fire.
go to the Carolina butt cheeks here. Um, yeah, there's not much to say about them, but it is kind of fun as a
So
Buccaneers fan to see 2 teams I hate in the butt cheeks, so that's
so
fun.
I wanna root for Baker. You know,
Yeah, I don't think he's a bad guy. Well, I don't think he's I don't know him, whatever. I don't
right.
know what's going on with him. But yeah, I don't think he's a terrible quarterback. I don't think he's a great quarterback.
Yeah. You know, as far as like the talent that they have on the roster,
They
I
should
don't
have a good running back if he can stay healthy.
yeah, I mean they have Christian McCaffrey, he's freaking awesome, but it just seems like for whatever reason they can't ever do anything about it. I know this is kind of a put up or shut up year
Mm,
for their coaching staff and for everything that they're looking to do, but I mean, I just
that
don't
team's in real trouble.
yeah, I just don't see I don't
Real
see
trouble.
when their quarterback room is Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield, it just I don't know, man. Like I don't see this being a team that's anything other than like 4 and 12 or 5 and 11
Oh, easily.
or like
Yeah.
4 and 13 and 5 and 12.
Yeah, the
Like that's
team's in
just where
really rough shape, man.
yeah.
Every time the last couple of years I've been like, "Oh yeah, what's up with the Panthers?" Cuz like we play them twice a year, so I'll be like, "Oh yeah, the Bucks are about to play them. Oh yeah, let me check out their team or whatever." And then I go, "Oh geez." Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
they
rough. They're lost.
yeah, talk about a team that I mean, it's one of those things where you talk about like, after they blew it up,
Yeah.
they rebuilt. Getting the coach in the front office is right is important and it just doesn't seem like, it's hard to tell what they're going to do there. But
You know
I
what
mean,
they were?
honestly,
Yeah.
I was just about to say honestly, I kind of don't care.
Oh, I super don't care because I don't like them. The only thing I like about the Panthers is I fucking love their colors. But we'll get to the Bears. But the Panthers, they're like an unsuccessful version of Seattle. They were
Mhm.
like really good for a year, made it to the Super Bowl and could have won it, but didn't. And then it just went downhill from there. And Seattle kind of did a similar thing where they made it, couldn't get over the hump, or well, but they did win the Super Bowl, and then they made it a second time, didn't get over it that time, and then they sort of fell apart since then. But yeah, so the Panthers were kind of an unsuccessful version. But yeah, the Bears, 100%, 100% in the butt cheeks. I mean, the team is a disaster. The stadium might get rebuilt, or they might make a new one, or God only knows what's happening with that club. So yeah,
Yeah, the Bear so
there's the Bears.
Justin Fields, it's not looking good.
No.
Um, it's the coaching search happened this offseason. Obviously, that needed to happen. Don't really
Mhm.
know a whole lot about the guy they brought in or what their direction or what their plan really is. All I know is it involves them really sucking this year.
Yeah.
So, it involves them continuing to rebuild. And when the only thing that's coming out of your training camp is a clip that's now turned into a meme of a
Yep.
really bad pass,
Yep.
that's not good. That's not good.
Listen,
Putting it
they're just a yeah.
It's not good.
No, it's not good, and they are a big ol' they're just back patties,
They're
man. They're
butt
butt
cheeks.
cheeks. They're
Yeah,
butt cheeks.
they're
As
just butt
for
cheeks.
as for a team whose letter is a B but is not butt cheeks, they are a wild card team and they live
Yep.
in the wild jungle. They are your Cincinnati Bengals,
They're
who
gonna be a
might
really good
have
football.
the coolest uniform ever with the all white
Yeah.
version
And
is
like what
amazing.
and like when I put them in wild card, this doesn't mean that these teams can't get to the Super Bowl.
Sure.
It doesn't mean like this team can't get to the Super Bowl. But like when I'm looking at the likelihood, like it's hard to picture Joe Burrow, as awesome as he is,
Mm,
getting back to the Super Bowl,
sure.
for the second time in 3 years is just unrealistic. They have an incredible, foundation, but do you
They
think
could
they
go full Patriots, but we don't know that yet.
the question's gonna be, did they over succeed last
Mhm.
year? Did they over accomplish? So now this is
Yep.
gonna be the year where they have to prove what they really are. And I still think they're gonna be a really good football team, but I think they also didn't have to face a fully healthy Lamar and the Ravens last year. I know they're gonna have the Steelers, which are gonna be pretty easy. They're gonna have the Browns, which we'll get to, but they outside of the quarterback room still
Yeah.
have a lot of talent on
A
that
lot of
team.
talent, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
especially yeah,
we'll get to them.
one of their players was talking about leaving, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, we'll
But
get to
no,
them.
the thing is I have a lot more faith in the Bengals than I do the Cardinals, but yeah, I think that you could put the Bengals and the Ravens as being, interchangeable, but we
Yeah.
already decided that the Ravens were up there, so unfortunately that puts the Bengals in the wild card, which is
Yeah,
okay.
for
And there's
sure.
an expanded wild card these days anyways, so it's just sort of like it doesn't matter.
Right. Now the Cowboys.
Dallas Cowboys.
So here's
Who's
my
in their
thoughts.
division?
What?
Who's in their division?
Uh,
Giants,
it's the
right?
Giants, it's the
Redskins.
Eagles, and the Commanders, the Washington
My
Commanders.
bad.
Nope, you're good.
Commanders. The what was the other one?
Washington Commanders, it's the Philadelphia
Oh,
Eagles,
the
and it's the New
Eagles. The
York
Eagles.
Giants.
Yeah. Oh man, this division
So
is
so
interesting.
inherently off that, they're gonna win the division. They're
Yeah,
the
they're
most
division winners for sure.
Yeah,
For
they're the
sure.
most talented team in the division. They're not gonna do anything beyond that. They'll
Yeah.
get to the playoffs. They're not gonna win a playoff game. It's the same. The Cowboys are a freaking it's a circle. And until Jer
They
it's
love winning divisions and doing nothing else.
you know what? You know what they are? They're the WWE. They're insanely successful. They're a money-making machine, but they truly can't get back to their past glory until their old senile owner is ripped away from the franchise.
Woof. But
Tell me
yeah,
I'm wrong.
no, for sure. I think that they're also very similar to the Green Bay Packers, where they're a team that just like seems like it's amazing, seems like it has some talent, seems like it's going to make it all the way, and then they lose in the first round. You're kind of like, well, that was
Yep,
weird.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
no, for sure. Dallas is definitely a division winner.
Another team I think's a division winner. I think the Broncos.
Ooh, no.
You don't think so?
Oh, I very much disagree. No, I think they're a wild card, probably at best.
I I
I
just
think Russell Wilson's a good quarterback. But I think he's a little bit washed
wait.
up.
All right, hold on. I just realized. Okay, so let's maybe say because I think this team will
No,
win that You think the Chiefs are going to win that division?
100%. Yes.
They talk about a team that got less talented.
No,
And
I agree, but I think that the Chiefs just are a significantly better team in general than the other three. As much as I love, obviously, the Raiders, I think that the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos are all wild card teams because I think they all are insanely talented. And I think any one of those three could potentially make a Super Bowl run, especially if, Herbert for the Chargers can, take that extra step, that extra leap, depending on how good Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are and if their defense can really put it together. But I think and then also the Broncos, you now have a brand new quarterback in that system you've got Russell Wilson. Does he still have it or is he washed? It's hard to say. How is
Yeah,
he going to look in that
it's not
system? This kind of
definitive he's
thing.
gonna be awesome.
Right. So I think that with those three franchises, they all have the potential, but we haven't seen any of those three put it together yet. I would love to see the Raiders do it. I wouldn't mind to see the Chargers do it just because that's a franchise that needs some positivity and has a lot of amazing talent and could make a Super Bowl run akin to the Bengals, but I just don't know that they're there yet. And I think that the Broncos need to prove it. So to me, with the three teams other than the Chiefs kind of having prove it years this year, it kind of defaults to me putting the Chiefs up there. But yeah, I would also put the Raiders in wild card easily.
To me, I don't know if I'd put easily. We'll get there in a second, but I just wanted to fill in for just because with I think the Chargers are in a similar spot where I agree, where I think they're all up in this spot. With the Raiders, to me, I would say that they're on the bubble of I think they'll probably make the wild card, or I could see them making the wild card, but I could also see them being one of those teams that are on the bubble of like 1 week they're in, 1 week they're out. You know what I'm saying? Where they're like actively like fighting to get in the wild card.
I definitely know what you're saying. I think that they have made a huge upgrade in stability when it comes to their coaching staff. I think I have a lot more faith in him than I have in a coach in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely look at the Raiders as a team that looked really, really good at a lot of times, but didn't have a lot of offensive firepower. And now you add Devontae Adams to that mix. If Waller is healthy all year, I think that that's huge. I think that this is a talent that they already made the wild card last year. And then, of course, they got eliminated by the Bengals, but I think they got more talented. And so I think that only, to me, solidifies them even further into that wild card spot. Because I
That's
really
fair.
think that they could make a decent push. So I just
It's
think that
just
division's insane. I think that's the best division in football.
that's the difficult part, because it's just hard putting 4 teams in the same division all in the wild card or division
Sure.
winners. But
It's the best division in football, man. It's unbelievable.
I gotta agree with you on that.
Those 4 teams, honestly, in that division in general, is must-watch television. Like,
Yeah.
those 4 teams, if you're a fan of football, you can't not watch those 4 teams because it is going to be insane with the level of talent.
Yeah.
So,
I agree with you on that. Now, the Cleveland Browns.
The Cleveland Browns,
Let me start with this.
Go for it.
My vote, they're butt cheeks.
Wow.
Well, no, listen. Here's why. Here's why.
Okay.
First of all, not only are first of all, your butt cheek. Let's start at the surface. First of all, the Cleveland Browns are butt cheeks as human beings. With everything with the Deshaun Watson situation that has been recently uncovered, with the NFL's findings literally being that he did it.
Yeah.
Like, the report doesn't speculate.
Sure.
It comes to the conclusion that Deshaun Watson is a predator.
He did that shit.
That he did that shit. That the evidence is overwhelming. And the reality is that Deshaun Watson is not playing a game of football this year.
God, I hope not.
He's playing one preseason game, but the NFL appealed the suspension. Roger Goodell will now have, the NFL will ultimately have the say. They're going to want at least a season. And so, with the overwhelming odds surmounting that Deshaun Watson's not touching a football field this year, now you went from having Baker Mayfield to Jacoby Brissett, which is objectively a downgrade. You have all this talent all over the field, but what the hell is that going to do you when you regressed in all these ways? And then
And shame on
Just
the
the
NFL
fact
for this whole charade, by the way, of the like, oh, look at us doing the right thing. We're going to suspend him for the year. I'm like, yeah, but you got come on. Yeah,
like,
the,
it
the,
was
the whole thing's a little bit of a PR spin move
well,
here.
yeah, the thing was that it started with, the judge, she like, with her reporting, she really went with, like, the precedent set by the league in the past for the
Which is a
suspension that
horrible precedent.
which is the exact problem, is that they have a
Right.
horrible precedent. So they want to set new precedent. So it's just
Yeah.
they're in a no-win situation. But like, ultimately, here's the thing.
Mm,
Even if they're on the bubble of
mm,
being a wild card team, this is a team that like conceivably could still win 8 football games next year. But in my opinion,
mm-hmm,
there is nothing that this Cleveland Browns team can do
mm-hmm.
with Deshaun Watson in the building that, in my opinion, will ever make it worth putting your reputation, putting your morals, and putting the safety and well-being of other people
Mm.
to the side just to get a generational talent at quarterback. So,
I
to
agree.
me, to me, the Browns, I listen, man. I have a lot of I hate the New England Patriots. And
Sure.
I am not secretive of that.
Sure.
After this, the Cleveland Browns are my least favorite team in professional sports. Go fuck yourselves.
Mm. I well said, but I think for me when it comes to strictly football speaking, and I think even without Deshaun, I think Jacoby Brissett and what we saw with him in Indianapolis and with the talent that the Browns have, I think they are just good enough that I think that they have to be a bubble team for sure because I think that the talent is there. I think that it is going to come down to the locker room and like whether or not they can kind of put a lot of the background noise aside and that kind of thing.
And that's just where
Um,
my lack of trust in the Cleveland Browns comes in, of I
sure.
don't think they have a strong enough locker room to overcome that.
For sure. I just think personally I would argue strongly that they should at least be a bubble team. I think their behavior is reprehensible, and I think that you made a very good point. I think it's worth putting them in butt cheeks emotionally, but I think that
I
bubble team is probably the most logical spot for them to be. Especially
Yeah,
if
but
Deshaun does play at any point, which is unlikely, but it could technically happen.
I mean, I'll put them there just from the sake of like the people that they have on their team.
Sure.
But I would bet a lot of money that they're not going to be a playoff team.
I hope not. Personally, I hope not, because I hope that everything that happens to them backfires because I agree with you and I hate what they've done.
I just don't. They have Nick Chubb, who's a really good running back.
Sure.
They have a really solid defense, but
Hmm.
like, again, what does that matter if you don't have a guy that can put the ball in the end zone on a consistent basis? So that's,
For
you
sure.
know, yeah. So and but it doesn't matter because they don't matter. But anyway,
Before we move on to the Green Bay Packers, I would actually like to take a slight detour to the other team in their division, the Minnesota Vikings. And the reason why is because my lovely wife has poured me a beer in the glass that has the Minnesota Wild. Look at that Minnesota Wild, beautiful.
look at that.
Look how fucking cool this glass is.
Look
I
at
mean,
that.
it's gorgeous. Go down to Head Flyer and get yourself one if you live in Minneapolis, St. Paul, because it's fucking awesome, dude.
This is now a
I'm
very
telling you.
this is a Minnesota tourist
Dude,
podcast
I
now.
gotta tell you, I am so unbelievably pro Minneapolis because Jesus, man, it was just such a great time. It really was, and they have cool shit. So
Talk
there's
about a
that.
guy who's fearful of his life. No, I'm kidding. Anyway,
The Viking, yeah, I know, right? No. But the Vikings, I think that this is a bubble team.
yeah,
And I don't think that there's much else that you can say about them. There's not anything super positive or super negative. They're a bubble team. They could make it, maybe, because they
yeah,
have some talent. They don't have so little talent that I put them in butt cheeks, but they
yeah,
don't have so much talent that I have any expectations. They're a
yeah,
team that, like, if they somehow squeaked in, I'd be like, oh, look at them. But if they missed, I'd be like, all right.
yeah.
They're kind of just there.
I think people are overrating their. I know they have a new head coach. I know he's from the Sean McVay regime. I don't think that automatically just means that your record's going to improve.
Sure.
You know, uh I know Kirk Cousins is a guy that you know, can get numbers and certainly light up the stat sheet. And I know when he has weapons around him that he can do a lot of really good things. But at the same time,
They're all right.
it's just
Yeah, they're
alright.
all right. And if they were good, I'd be happy for them, I guess. I'd be like, okay, sure, like sure. But yeah, they're definitely not a team that I have literally any expectation for. But I definitely don't look at them and go, oh, that's a talentless bullshit team. Like they're just kind of like sure.
Right.
Meanwhile, Green Bay is the division winner.
Yep. I mean, they are the definition of what I think this tier is,
Yep,
where they're gonna be a high playoff seed. They're probably gonna have a home playoff game,
yep,
but I think nothing else. I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna make lemonade with lemons,
yep.
and I think you're gonna see at the end and in the end in the playoffs, I think it's gonna come down to if only he had a Devontae Adams type talent on the outside.
That's gonna
So,
definitely significantly hinder them, but he's still gonna figure it out. And yeah, the Green Bay Packers, man, it's just that's just what they do now. They're kind of the Dallas Cowboys, as I already discussed. And
yeah.
also, is there any less likable person that you've ever seen than Aaron Rodgers? Because Jesus Christ, I know you hate Tom Brady, but I
Well,
feel like
other
you should
than
look at
obviously
Tom Brady
yeah.
and you should love him in comparison.
No, I loved the cringy moment with Big Cat and them on the freaking
Oh
bar
yeah.
stool when they were like, "How many people do you think you were responsible for?" And he was like, "I actually don't think it's funny at all." Like, I love that. I loved that. I loved that. But,
I just
uh,
Aaron Rodgers is the least likable, most annoying fucking. He's like literally like a 13-year-old who watches
yeah,
Joe Rogan. He's like, "Oh, I did
he's
ayahuasca, so now I'm good at
it's
football." I'm
because
like, "Shut
he's
the fuck
quite
up."
because he watches Joe Rogan. Because it's
But
literally
it's
his
weird because I'm
personality.
like, dude, he's like a 40-something-year-old man, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, he just comes off as such a fucking dork.
Right.
But yeah, no, the Texans. I love that you put him there and that we just ignored it because like
I'm playing a
it's a
new game.
franchise that's just like,
I'm
what the
playing I'm
what?
I'm playing a new game. I'm
mm,
taking any team that,
mm,
like, is on this bubble up next,
mm,
and if I have genuinely little respect for them as an organization,
mm,
without any thought, I'm just sliding them into butt cheeks.
mm.
Here's the thing, Robert.
This team is a team that got rid of all of their talent. They got nothing in return. JJ Watt, didn't he bail on them as well?
Yeah, he's in
He's in
Arizona.
Arizona. Yeah, so they have no talent. They got nothing in return. The team is
Well,
fucking
all they got was all these picks from Cleveland. Like,
right.
essentially, they're at the point where they have to pick up they're left picking up the pieces of this horrendous Deshaun Watson situation,
Mhm.
and they
They're
brought
in a
in
nightmare scenario, dude.
Lovie Smith to be their head coach,
Good
which
luck.
the way that he accepted the job and the way that that whole process went, to be honest with you, looked like he was just happy to be there.
Probably
It
because
also
he is. I
came
remember when he was a Buccaneer.
well, do
Jesus.
you also remember the reports? Do you remember when Josh McCown almost was their head coach
Yeah, what
with
the hell?
zero experience? So
I
we don't
forgot
even
about
need to go
that.
listen, we don't even need to talk even like that literally says it all.
It's just, yeah, the Texans are a dumpster fire. They're butt cheeks. Fuck them.
How about this? For the rest of the
Well, no,
let's
we can go back to the Colts.
okay.
Yeah, yeah,
I was gonna say we could just fill in the rest of the teams we think will be butt
butt
cheeks.
cheeks. No, no,
And
no, 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 no. We'll save it.
okay, okay. All right,
Yeah, we're
because
gonna go to the Indianapolis Colts now. Their division is the Colts, the
yeah,
Jaguars,
Colts, Jaguars, Titans,
Titans.
and they also have the
Who the
why am
hell's
I
the other one?
blanking?
Yeah,
They
me
should
too.
they should literally be oh yeah, the Texans.
Oh, the Texans.
We literally don't even think of them as a
We
football
don't
team.
even fucking care about them
Yeah.
at all. First of all, didn't they become a team in like 2006? Like fuck them. But the
Like we literally just talk who else is in their division? I have no
bro,
clue.
Fuck them. Anyways, no, yeah, obviously the division winner in that one is going to be the Titans. So I'm definitely going to go ahead and put them in wild card.
Yeah, they have Matt
Um,
Ryan. They have a solid
mm,
roster, but, like, I mean, like, I'm not
you know
saying I
what?
love
I'm going to change my mind. You know what? Bubble.
okay.
Because Matt Ryan, here's the thing. He kind of had semi-similar talent in Atlanta and wasn't really able to get it done there anymore. And I get that the talent is better in Indianapolis, but Indianapolis is kind of this team that they kind of seem lost too. Like they're sort of searching for a quarterback, and they were like, "Yeah, Matty Ice, that's the guy." I'm like, a lot of better
Well,
options out there, but hey, you
I mean,
know,
you think about it, they built this roster around the thoughts that they were gonna have Andrew Luck, and then Andrew
I
Luck
get that. But then
retires.
they went with like Carson Wentz for a minute, and
Well,
that was
that's
like, what the fuck?
well,
And then
that's the
they
thing. So that's the thing. Ever since, they've just been trying to find veteran solutions. So they went with Phil
it's
because you forget, because before Carson Wentz, they
yeah.
had Philip Rivers, and
Oh yeah.
they were actually not terrible with Philip
Yeah,
Rivers,
they
but
were all
but, like,
right.
they won football games, like, if you have, like, they've
Yeah,
shown, like, if you have a veteran that at least doesn't turn the ball over, and that's the
sure.
thing with Matt Ryan, like, he's not gonna be a serial pick guy like
Mm-mm.
Carson Wentz, like, literally last year, all they
That
needed to
fucking
do
Jaguars game, holy fuck.
literally, that's what I was about to say, all they had to do last year was not fuck it up, and they were gonna be in the playoffs. So,
Yeah.
like, I would argue just off of that alone, just the upgrade of Matt Ryan over Carson Wentz,
Puts him in the wild card.
they literally they were literally supposed to trip into getting into the playoffs last year. That's how close they like that
Yeah, and then they
Jaguars
lost like
team.
3 or 4 games in a row and blew it. Yeah, you know
Yeah,
what? You're right. I'm gonna give them the wild card too based on that. You're
and a
very
lot of
right.
that was just based off of bullshit from Carson Wentz. So
Yeah.
they won't have that
Thank you
anymore.
for reminding me of that because I totally forgot that they had that spell there where they pretty much were guaranteed until they blew it like 3 games in a row. So you're totally right. They are definitely wild card.
Yeah, for
The
sure.
Jaguars are
All
they're
right.
bored.
So anyway,
Well, hold on. The Jaguars, I think, are borderline butt cheeks and bubble. Not that they're actually going to make the playoffs. I don't think that at all. I don't think that at all.
so like what I was going to argue about the Lions earlier.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. They're similar to the Lions because I think that that is a team on the rise, and obviously, I think
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, under new coaching and stuff like that, very well could
eh,
start to kind of come into his own as the quarterback that they kind of hoped to see.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see, but
And
yeah,
Doug
you know what? I
Peterson.
guess butt cheeks is maybe fair.
Yeah, and Doug Peter, you know what? I'm gonna give it to you in the sense that like Doug Peterson, at the very least, he's a like not the greatest like NFL coach, but like
Hmm.
he at the very least a way step up over Urban Meyer. Like
Yeah, I just think that team was in such disarray with him that it was really hard to judge them, and I think they technically have some talent on there to where, like,
Trevor
they could
Lawrence year two.
right, so I think that they're a team that could maybe win 8 games and, like, not make the playoffs for sure, but, like, sort of be just above butt cheeks where
They could be like,
they're
yeah,
sort of figuring it out a
they could
little
be like
bit.
they could win like 5, 6 games and like maybe
Yeah.
like not quite be bad enough to be in like number one pick, but like
Yeah.
they'll still get some talent.
They're figuring it out. Now that, of course, I almost called them the Chargers. The LA Rams are the division winners.
I have them as contenders.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry, you're right. You're right. I was just thinking of I was looking at division winners and I was thinking about having 8 teams there. No, you're
Yeah.
right. They're champions. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're like
Championship caliber. Yeah, yeah.
if they're healthy, there's no reason why they can't get back to the Super Bowl.
For sure.
Or at the very least get to the NFC Championship game.
Easily.
They're Matt Stafford, I know he has the elbow stuff going on right now. I'm not too worried
Are
about
they
that.
AFC or NFC? They're NFC, aren't
They're
they?
NFC. They're
NFC.
NFC.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
they're NFC. They're
Sure.
Sean McVay is, the best coach in football. Aaron Donald is the best defensive player in football.
Mhm.
They have Cooper Cup. They somehow, went and they added the linebacker that they did this offseason as well. Like they still got even more talent.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I
no, I think
mean,
that the Rams are just one of those organizations that is in win now mode and it's going really well. So,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, I think that there's absolutely no reason for them to be anything less than a potential championship hope. Yeah.
I think if we're looking at like, the candidates, like I don't think we're ever going to see the Patriots again, but I think if you're talking about like what team's going to be like when I mean, like, we're never gonna see the Patriots, I don't think we're ever gonna see a team be that dominant for that
Oh,
extended period of a time. Like, I
yes.
think we'll see dominant teams, but, like, we're never gonna see that type of organizational type of dominance extended period of time ever again, right?
I still can't believe they did that just because of the standpoint of like usually the teams that went on those insane kind of dynasties were back in like the 20s and 30s when people kind of discredit it because it's like, well, there
Right,
wasn't that many teams. Like
right,
the Yankees, the Montreal Canadiens, shit like
right,
that, where it's like, well, yeah, of course they dominated. There wasn't a lot around the Celtics, the Lakers, shit like that,
right.
right?
But
But
if you're
yeah, I
but
mean, they did it in modern times. So through a lot of
right.
different generations and amazing Hall of Famers. So
Right, but if you were to look at, like, what are the teams that are most likely that are, like, the best set up to have that type of system, obviously, you'd look at the Rams because of the program and the success they've had. I'd say the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes, inherently, they
I
have to
would
be
have
in
until
there.
they started to really shed talent.
I would say the Bengals have a chance with
I
Joe
think the
Burrow.
Bengals is the number one to me, personally.
Well, yeah, I know they're I get that, but I to me, yeah,
I
I
think
mean,
they
they
have the right formula of young and, you know, enough time for that type of thing to happen. I think that the Rams have a
I just
limited window to win multiple. I think
but the
honestly, I
diff
think the Rams have
okay,
maybe
but
one.
right, but what I'm saying the difference is, and the reason why I have like, the Rams have a coach I trust and know is gonna be prominent and great for a long time.
Sure,
I don't know a
sure.
damn thing about like, I know Ben Johnson just got to a Super Bowl, but, like, is am I looking at what they did on the coaching in that game and saying that, like, because there's a lot of times coaching wise where, like, that cost them the game.
For
So,
sure.
but anyway, anyway, that's a whole other conversation, but
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. I think
yeah,
we're on
but
to the Miami Dolphins, who are a team that I would put in the bubble.
yeah, same here.
They're just kind of they're
What's
still
Tua gonna be?
lost. They're still
What's Tua
lost.
yeah, like, what's Tua gonna be? That's
Right.
to me, like, that answers all the questions
It does.
because, like, they bring in this new, like, this new head coach who's
Mhm.
supposed to be this offensive wizard.
Yep.
You bring in Tyreek Hill,
Yep.
you get all these receivers and running backs, and you get really young and athletic and fast, but
You apparently cheat, and so you lost draft picks, so you kinda need to win now.
yeah, so, yeah, I think they're on the bubble. Like,
It yeah.
you know what I will say?
They could end up in the wild card very easily if Tua's everything he should be, but I guess we'll
Yeah,
kind of see.
you know what I will say?
Mm.
They're gonna be better than the Patriots. 'Cause the Patriots gonna be butt cheeks. Oh my god, they're gonna be bad. I'm so
I
excited.
have a couple of things to add in here. Number one, shout out to the Miami Dolphins for having like the coolest throwbacks and colors in the game. I mean, that orange and teal is gorgeous, darling. Kind of like our Pistons. Now
Gorgeous, darling.
the New England Patriots. I think you're dead wrong. I think that's a bubble team. I think it's a hardcore bubble team.
Have you been paying attention to the reports out of training camp?
No.
So, first of all, I'm not sure if you're quite familiar with the Patriots' current offensive situation,
Okay.
but currently,
They still have their QB, right?
they have Mac Jones.
Mac
You're
Jones,
right.
yeah. Mhm.
But guess who's his play caller?
Who would that be, Sean? Oh, Matt
Matt
Patricia.
Patricia. In all reports out of New England Patriots camp are that their offense is dreadful,
Mm,
that they're looking actually terrible. And
hmm.
they've made a lot of really weird draft picks. There's a lot of family members on his staff.
Hmm.
Ultimately they don't have any true offensive minds that so right now it's kind of like I know Joe Judge is going to have play calling responsibilities on this team as well.
Joe
Who's the guy?
Judge is there?
Yeah,
Okay.
the
That's new.
the guy who was the Giants
The
coach last
Giants.
year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, because he
Okay.
was formerly from the Belichick tree, so that's where he came from.
Oh, so you went
So
back.
yeah, so listen, man, I all reports even suggest that like Mac Jones, even like in media, like people are like, man, this guy looks dejected. Like all reports out of the Patriots camp right now are that this year could be a dumpster fire.
Interesting.
So
With that said, and that very well could be.
I think it's fair though to give him the benefit of the doubt
I
in the
gotta
sense
give him
that
the benefit of the doubt. The talent that we've seen over the last couple of years indicates that they're going to be, at the very least, a semi-competitive team that's sort of whatever. Bill Belichick always seems to figure it out. Mac Jones, I very much believe in him and think he's going to be a good quarterback in the league. Whether or not he'll be elite is another question. But yeah, to say that they're butt cheeks based on some media reports out of training camp and stuff like that, I think is a little bit difficult to say because that
but also
it's
with
hard to
Matt
read into
but
that kind of
also
thing.
listen, man, Matt Patricia
And Matt
is not
Patricia sucks ass, but like
the fact that he's their offensive coordinator
is
and
weird.
that
Isn't he a defense guy?
yes,
Yeah, so that doesn't
he
make any
wasn't even
goddamn
good
sense.
at that.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
That's extremely bizarre to me, and it definitely lends to them potentially having butt cheek potential. But I think that they're at least giving them the benefit of the doubt. A bubble team, I think,
yeah,
is a very fair thing for them.
I
Now the
think
New
this
Orleans Saints are weird.
I think they're a bubble team because I think they're like
Yeah,
I think they have enough talent and enough like tutelage and enough in their background to like you could see them in theory doing something.
I
Like
could
yeah,
see them
that
in
would be
wild card if Jameis Winston's healthy and is a
yeah,
good version of Jameis Winston. I actually could see them being pretty damn good. But yeah, they're a weird team to where it's like the expectations kind of like, well, we'll see, I guess. It's
right.
kind of a we'll see season for them. So I think bubble is
Yeah.
extremely fair for the Saints.
Yeah. Now, I think this is gonna be an easy one. Let's just get the city in New York
Mm.
right out of the way, shall we?
Oh, this is rude.
Start spreading the
Hey,
news.
fuck
Do, do,
you.
do.
Spreading the
Their
butt
butt
cheeks right here.
cheeks today.
Yeah, we
They
got to
will not be a part of it.
New York.
New York.
Yeah,
I mean, they play in New Jersey anyway, but I
they
mean,
do.
listen,
They do.
both teams are in a very similar spot of
Mhm.
and listen, the reason why I even put like I this isn't like we're not even ranking like within this, but like
Mm,
I feel better about the Jets. Like I could
I do
argue the
too.
Jets being a bubble team,
Yeah, for sure.
but I still think they're trash. The Giants, until they get rid of Daniel Jones, they are garbage. They are
Until they figure
trash.
anything out, that whole team is just a complete dumpster fire that doesn't seem to have any traction. They're just spinning their tires in the mud. The Jets, I think, are finally starting to slightly see some sunlight, but
But
they
they're
have
still really young.
absolutely the Jets have done nothing to prove anything. And also their quarterback, the only thing impressive that he's done is his mom's friend or something like that. So the Jets do not have a lot going on as far as showing me that they deserve the benefit of the doubt because all they've been for the last forever it feels like is butt cheeks.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that that's a very fair estimation for them. And I
Yeah.
think that the Eagles,
I'd put them in the bubble because I think they were
yeah, God, are they butt
they were
cheeks or are they
stuck.
bubble?
Well, because here's the thing, they were a playoff team last year. I don't really know how they were a playoff team,
I don't either.
but like they were. So it's like one of
Yeah,
those
let's bubble them just
like
because they're like,
well because
oh,
they're
okay.
well because here's the thing. What if here because here's the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What if Dak Prescott gets injured? What if something happens with the Cowboys? The Eagles, in theory, that could open them up to a home playoff game.
Which is hilarious because they could have a losing record or a barely 500
Yeah.
record doing it.
Yep.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Yeah.
They're a team that's like, okay, sure.
Now in my opinion of the 5 teams down here remaining,
Mm.
I think we only have one buck cheek team left.
Yes, we do, and they're the number one right there, and they are the Seattle Seahawks. They are
Yeah.
unbelievable butt cheeks. They have no fucking talent except for DK Metcalf, and he has nobody throwing to him. They are
Can I
fucked.
just say, by the way,
That team
isn't
is a
it
nightmare.
amazing? I thought this was gonna be the one that was gonna have the most teams in it.
Mm.
We are firm on a lot of teams sucking ass.
There's
Like,
a lot of bad football happening, y'all.
yeah, uh-huh,
A
and
lot of bad football,
a lot
y'all.
of it's gonna happen in Seattle. Now the
Yeah, it really
49ers
is.
now the 49ers,
Oh, man, the 49ers.
inher
I would like
inherently, to me, I think based off of what we've been
uh,
saying, I think they're a wild card team.
yeah, I think they're a really low caliber because I could see them in the bubble as well. Because here's the thing. They were a good team that almost made a Super Bowl run I guess. But they're also about to put essentially a rookie because he hasn't played shit in the NFL. They're just going to throw him out there and be like, yep, it's his time to go. And I don't think he's going to be a good quarterback at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I don't
I'm more
know.
trustful of I'm not gonna take any of his play from last year into account as far as what he's gonna be as a quarterback down the
Sure.
line. I mean, he had limited touches.
Sure.
I do if I will say if the Niners trust him enough to move on from Mitch Trubisky like they are, then I'm interested to see.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
I mean, Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah, you're right. I mean, what's the difference at the end of the day? No, but I'm kidding. If they're comfortable enough to move off Jimmy G because of where Trey Lance is at,
Sure.
then I trust what they're doing. They are as like their running game is dangerous. Their
Yeah.
defense is explosive. Kyle Shanahan is one of the best coaches in
Is the
football.
running back staying on the team or are they trading Debo?
No, they actually just got an extension with Debo. So,
Really? Because I thought he was trying to get out of there because I thought he was like unhappy and all this other
yeah,
shit.
they healed it up right
Really?
before training camp and got an extension signed. So he
Okay.
and
They sent him a
and
fruit basket? I mean, what the fuck?
well, no, they didn't give him a fruit basket. They gave him a bag of cash.
Well, I'm just
He
saying it's
wanted
just weird. He was like unhappy and now he's just suddenly cool. So,
well,
okay,
well,
sure.
the reason why was because he wanted to get paid because he didn't
Oh,
because he was playing he was playing wide receiver and running back.
yeah.
He was in a position where he was getting hit more than any other guy in the league last year. He needs to be able to get paid.
Yeah,
So,
before he goes all Antonio Brown. Yeah, I think
yeah,
I think yeah, no, that honestly that's fair. And giving them the benefit of the doubt of the fact that they believe in Trey Lance. I guess I feel comfortable with them in wild card, but I definitely am a lot more bearish on them and I definitely think that they're going to be more of a bubble team because I think that Trey's a bit more butt cheeks, but you know, I'll be nice and I will say wild card and I'll
it's
respect that opinion.
and I could almost go the other way, and
Mm.
I could even make a case that the 49ers could win the division if the Rams take a step back.
I definitely think there's no shot of that. I think the Rams are so much better than them.
I think I listen, I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm just saying, like, if a
Stafford would
team
have to snap his arm for that to happen. I
if
mean,
any
that's
other team in that division would win the division,
Mhm.
it'd be the 49ers.
Well, no shit. Seattle is butt cheeks, and who's the other one?
Well, they have the Cardinals.
The Cardinals, who are like borderline butt cheeks. So yeah, all
Well,
right.
but they were okay, but they're a powerhouse as far as what they were like when they were healthy and like when they started the year last year, they were great.
I,
So
yeah, I honestly, Kyler Murray, I really have a low opinion of his quarterbacking. Like, I really, really don't think he's any good, and I I think he's kind of butt cheeks. We'll see how that goes, but as far as the board goes here, my beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers are, of course, a championship contender. It is the very last season for Tom Brady. He has a bunch of talent around him. He is going to put in every last tiny bit of effort that he has left in his bones to make sure that he wins his final ring. This man, come hell or high water, is going to make sure that they're a contender. They might not win at all, but come hell or high water, Tom Brady is not going to leave the league in some shitty little fashion, okay? This Tampa Bay team is going to go all in, go for broke this season, and hopefully win a Super Bowl. And then after that, God only knows what's going to happen. I'm probably going to be really sad. But at least for this year, Buccaneers Super Bowl.
I think the Titans are in a position where they could really win their division.
Fuck you. No, I think the Titans for sure. They're a
No,
very
I no,
strong
in
team.
all serious all right, no, but in all seriousness, I mean, all right, the Buccaneers, yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
this is the it's Tom Brady's last year.
it's the last hurrah, man. This
It
is it.
this is the last dance.
It
And
is.
they still have a lot of those components from that Super Bowl roster. Tom Brady's always going to keep you relatively in it. I'm not sure if I would pick them over the Rams or I'm not sure if I put them as like a lock or anything like that because because I think we're in a really widely contested league, but
Yeah,
I
and the
think
talent is just unbelievable. Yeah,
yeah,
across the
but
divot. Yeah,
but I think you're right in the sense that as long as Tom Brady's in the league, he's gonna have a shot at getting to the Super
It
Bowl.
is so hard to count against him, especially because even the year that they won the Super Bowl, everybody was counting on the Buccaneers. They looked terrible to begin the year, and then they made the playoffs, but only barely, and then they almost lost to the Redskins or the football team or whatever the fuck they are, and then
The Commanders.
Commanders. Well, they were the
That's
football
gonna be
team at the time, and they
yeah.
had a no-name QB filling in. We almost lost to them, and then they had to go through the Saints and the Green Bay. And so, like, even then, everyone counted them out, and they won the damn Super Bowl. So it's one of those deals where it's like you can never, ever, ever count them out. But yeah, no, the Tennessee Titans deserve some love and some talking about. This is a team that is struggling to get over the hump. Derrick Henry is unbelievable. I think that they have a good coach. I think that they they're trying to put it together. Do I believe in Ryan Tannehill? He's kind of a Matt Hasselbeck to me, to be honest with you. He's just kind of that guy where it's like he's not bad enough to necessarily like lose you games, but he's not good enough to necessarily win you a lot either. He's
Yeah,
kind of just he's good enough.
to
He's
me, they
all right.
remind me the way I would describe them is like in like the 2010s, the
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks were always at the top of the Eastern Conference. They're for whatever reason they had this roster where if you looked at them on paper, they're like, man, that's a lot of really good basketball players. But
Mm.
when push comes to shove, they're just not going to get over the top.
They remind me
And
of the Seattle Seahawks who had Matt Hasselbeck and Marshawn Lynch, where it was
yeah,
like that amazing running back who just plows through a whole team, and then everyone else is pretty good, but
yeah.
and they're going to
Imagine
win
if
their division because who else is in their division?
they have the Colts, they have the Jaguars, and they have the Texans.
Right, so they're going to kind of win it by default. It's not that they're necessarily like
I
this
could see the
amazing
Colts.
powerhouse
I
team.
yeah, this is the first time in a few years where I feel like the Colts could win the division, but
Yeah, if all things go right for sure. But yeah, I think that the Titans, in some ways, and it's not necessarily a knock against them, but I like when I look at the rest of those division winners, with the exception of the Cowboys, I think all those teams are a lot better than them. So,
right.
yeah, and then the football team for sure, the
The
bubble,
Commanders.
the Commanders, the commies, the Washington Listen, when you change your name fucking 8 times, it feels
I
like in
get it.
3 years. Jesus Christ.
I get
At
it.
least with the Cleveland Guardians, at least they changed their name once, and that's it. We're just done.
I mean,
Um,
they have some nice guys on the defensive end. They
I
have
think they're a wild card team. I got to be honest. I think you're being slightly harsh. I
They
think
have
that this
Carson
is.
Wentz. What are we talking about?
Oh
All the
shit.
same reason that
Oh
we
shit.
were gonna say that the Colts were gonna be a freaking
Oh
bubble team.
shit. You're totally right. You know what? I completely take that back. You're right. Here's the thing. They're a team that I think should be in the wild card if it wasn't for Carson Wentz.
But
Because
that's
I
the
think if you give them a halfway decent quarterback, even if you gave them a Ryan Tannehill or some shit like that, like they could almost put in any other quarterback and they'd be kind of okay to where I think they could make it. And they do have some great talent, especially on the defensive side.
right.
But yeah, they are kind of that team that's like still building, still trying to go somewhere. Their
They're
franchise
also
is in complete disarray.
to me,
Um,
they're kind of like one of those teams like we talk about how in the NBA world where there's like a purgatory.
yeah,
The NFL is a very similar thing where if you're just in the middle
yeah,
for like a long time, and even then, when they got to the point where they were like when they had a top pick, they had a number 2 overall pick, it was a pass rusher. It wasn't they couldn't go get a quarterback. So like, and they're, obviously they drafted, the late Dwayne Haskins, rest in peace, like and everything that went down there. And now they're just trying to figure out what they're going to do with that starting situation. I mean, Carson Wentz is just that's their cheapest, most viable option. You know what I mean? So I think
cheap is an interesting way of putting it, but
well,
yes.
I mean, like it was their most ready available solution
To
to
be
go.
honest with you, sorry, I just thought of something, and I just didn't want to forget it. Is that if they could make a trade for Jimmy Garoppolo, this is a wild card team.
Yeah, I could see.
If they got Jimmy G, that could be good.
I think they're one of the teams that's in line to potentially get him. I can see the Giants trying to find a way to get him.
Yep.
I think there's definitely a few teams. This is one of them. I mean, but the tough thing though is they already just traded for Carson Wentz as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're currently going through training camp and are
Right.
probably building things around Carson Wentz. So
Yeah.
it's just tough. I mean, I that's why I agree with you. I think they could be a wild card team, but at the same time, I could also see this really going wrong, and
Oh,
that's
they
why I
could be
have them
butt
right.
cheeks.
Yeah, and that's why I have them on the bubble because like they're in that division with the Cowboys. Like you really never know. Like there's really in that division, you can't really put someone in butt cheeks because you could conceivably like if the Cowboys get like if there's an injury on the Dallas Cowboys,
Mm.
freaking fair game.
Well, and when the entire division's butt cheeks, it's kind of hard to put them all there.
Yeah. Well,
But although we
yeah. The
did
only
put,
one that's down there is the Giants, but I mean
which
that.
is funny because it's a division of like, okay. But no,
Yeah,
I forgot about Carson Wentz being there because it feels like they have a new quarterback every year.
they do. That's
But,
the problem. They
which is
do have a
part of
new
the issue.
quarterback every year.
Yeah. And the last time that they were winning Super Bowls, they were the Redskins and they had Joe Gibbs, and that was about a million years ago. So yeah, the team is really in a lot of disrepair, which is really too bad. And honestly, obviously the memes of them having no fans at training camp was
Yep.
disappointing and that kind of thing. And it really is kind of sad, right? Because like the Redskin fan base is like, well, I guess now the Commander fan base, whatever. Which apparently
Stop saying Redskins.
the fan base clearly doesn't like the Commander name. They seemed to like football team better. I
Yeah,
don't know what they even like. Commanders is
is
the shittiest fucking name in professional sports. Can we just accept that that is the worst
It's
fucking
bad.
name of all time?
It's
Like
bad.
Commanders is balls. Like that name sucks ass. They should be in
Yeah,
butt
it's
cheeks for their
bad.
name alone. But but aside from that, it is disappointing because like that fan base is such a good and passionate and loyal and like,
Well, they need
storied
to sell the team,
franchise
man.
and fan base and this and that. Like it's really disappointing. And they have guys like what is it? Chase Young? Is that his name?
Yeah.
On their defense? Okay, I just get people
They're
mixed
the
up, and I'm
Clippers
terrible with
pre the
names.
Donald Sterling sale. They have
Yeah.
they have an owner that
Mhm,
is dysfunctional. It's a freaking
mhm,
clown show.
yep,
It's been widely reported and investigated and documented how
yep.
terrible of a shit show this team is.
And there's more
Hopefully,
to come out potentially.
yeah, it just seems like it's only a matter of time until Dan Snyder's going to be forced to sell the team. But until then, they're just kind of in this kind of purgatory as a franchise where they're just always going to be in this air, like they're never going to get over the hump until he's not with the franchise.
Yeah, the Red Team Commanders, they
Red Team Commanders.
the the Red Team Commanders, really, it's a
The Red Team Commanders. That's so good.
they're essentially ran by Vince McMahon, and it's really just kind of a complete shit show. And it really is too bad. It really truly is too bad.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like a franchise that was as storied and historic and beloved and this and that, kind of as Green Bay in a way, like Washington fans really got behind the then at the time Redskins, but now they changed the name to football team, and then it seemed like they were going to get sold, and then the fans kind of went, should I even care anymore? And then they became the Commanders, and now people really are like, I don't fucking know what's going on. And it's honestly one of the biggest shames I've ever seen. And in Cleveland did everything right, because when they were the Indians, people were just as loyal and it was a very good fan base, this, that, whatever. They changed the Guardians and it seems like the fans just kind of accepted it and everything has went smooth, and they did it 100% right. If you're going to change your name from something that is considered offensive to something else, you got to do it in a way that is just rip the band-aid off, accept it, and go in full speed ahead, and whatever. And I feel like the, Guardians fans really accepted that. And Washington just did every single step of it completely wrong.
Well, it's because they've been doing everything wrong from the beginning, and that's the
Yeah.
problem. So,
And also Redskins is so much more offensive than the Indians. Jesus. I mean, that is so much more offensive than Indians. Oh
It
my
is.
God.
It is. It really is.
It's so bad. But like people have a problem with like the Chiefs, and I'm like, okay, I don't really have much of a problem with the Chiefs or like the Braves or the Blackhawks, stuff like that, whatever. But like Indians was kind of just like, well, that's just kind of one of those misnomer names where like they're not from India, so like what are we doing? But like Jesus Christ, Washington was so bad.
Yep.
It was
Yep.
so bad.
100%. But with
But
that, Robert,
Sean, we only have 3 teams that we are putting 100% all the way backing into a championship. Now, of course, division winners, any of those teams we are considering very highly to be considered for a
Yeah,
championship run. And
of
wildcard
course.
teams can always make it, as the Bungles made their way to the championship last year. So you never know. One of these
But I
teams,
think
hopefully
these are
the
the top
Raiders.
3 teams in the league.
Yes. And I think most people would agree with that. I think that the only thing that fans might get mad at us is that they would probably put either Green Bay or Kansas City up there. But I would argue, number one, that both teams lost a lot of firepower on the offense, and that's kind of why we lowered them.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if they still had Tyreek Hill, they still had Devontae Adams, one or both of those teams could have made it up into the champs. But because they lost them, it's kind of hard to justify that at this point.
Listen, you could put the Packers on paper in the Super Bowl literally every single year because of
Every
the
single
fact that they
year.
have Aaron Rodgers alone, but I've
That's
been
right.
watching the Green Bay Packers for quite a while now. I know how they do things, and they're gonna regress this year. They're not gonna be as good this year as they were last year because they traded away one of their best players
And they
because
didn't replace it.
Yep, exactly. But
And it is what it is.
man, dude, that was a man, after missing a week, that was a packed pod, man.
It is a meaty episode we have here. And I know that some of you, even though you should realize by now that this is the zany podcast that is about fucking nothing and everything at the same time, somehow you still get mad and want us to get to the topic. To that I say, go fuck yourself. Because the topic is whatever we want it to be.
Because the plot twist is what topic?
What topic? We don't care. I super don't care. The whole point is that it's supposed to be fun, conversational, and ridiculous, and that I drink and Sean and I laugh, and we have some goofs, some gaffs, some laughs, some blasts. And Sean, I think that we made a really good list of NFL teams. I think most people will probably agree with our list. Let us know if
Yeah.
you disagree. I would love to hear you sound off in the comments, and I'm sure you will if we put your favorite team in butt cheeks.
But even better,
But
even better, I'm excited for when the season ends and we come back and we revisit this list
yes,
and we see
please
what we
save
thought
that.
of these teams. So we're definitely
Yes.
we will be revisiting this at a later time. But I
Yeah,
feel
I
like this
can't
is
wait,
a
man.
yeah, man. But dude, it was good to see you. It was fun to do. It was fun to come back and hell yeah, man. Excited for more Pizza Palace, baby.
Absolutely. And we should figure out, and we will for the next pod officially, Sean will recover and or we will create a new Little Caesars Championship belt, and we will come up with some sort of a wager and put it on the line for this upcoming NFL season and or NBA. We'll talk off pod about that.
Heck yeah.
And we will have that next episode for you, and we will put up the wager for the soon to be very prized possession, the newly formed
The
Little
Pizza
Caesars
Palace World Heavyweight Championship.
There you go. So, anyways, y'all, we love you, of course. Sound off in the comments and let us know why we're the worst and why we suck and our opinions are garbage and that your team is not butt cheeks. Or tell me why a team that is way too high should be in butt cheeks.
Yeah,
And,
there's gonna be a
and all
lot
that
of
kind of
all
fun
these
stuff.
fan bases down here.
I can't wait.
We have one.
We have
thing,
so many teams that we offended by putting them in the butt cheat. Like
Dude,
there
we even
is
put
so many fans down there.
even our own Lions, man.
Our
I don't
own
like that.
Detroit Lions are in butt cheeks.
I don't like that they're here. But that's
Here's
a
the
whole
thing,
other-
and I love them too, and I care about them, and they're a precious little team. But like, a spade's a spade, man. They're butt cheeks.
That's fair.
It
But
is what it is.
anyways.
Oh.
Ow!